The future of technology and building the next generation of startups are big topics at this year's SALT conference in Las Vegas.
And Yahoo Finance's Scott Gamm is on the ground. Scott, you got to talk with tech icon Steve Case. What's the scoop?
Hey there, Brian. Well, yeah, we are here at SALT. You've got all ends of Wall Street converging here in Las Vegas. And I spoke to Steve Case, the co-founder of AOL and now the CEO of tech investment firm Revolution. And he's very much focused on promoting some of the tech opportunities outside of Silicon Valley. So Silicon Valley and New York, those tech hubs get most of the VC capital, but there are hundreds of tech opportunities going on across the country. We also talked about, of course, the excitement surrounding the Uber IPO. Here's what Steve Case had to say.
Well, I think it's exciting to see. I worked on the Jobs Act 5-6 years ago, the Jumpstarting Our Business Startups Act that created a emerging growth company path, on-ramp for IPOs, but things were slow for a few years, so it's great to see things really picking up now. It does feel like going to be a very strong year for tech IPOs. And
what do all of these IPOs say about the broader stock market? Is it a sign that we have some more room to run in this bull market?
Well, there's smarter people at this conference than I, but my sense is the market is fairly fully valued. Maybe there's a little bit more room to run, but I think part of the reason companies are going public is they feel like now is the time to go public, and the market certainly has been quite strong, and I think will continue to be for the foreseeable future.
When we last spoke, probably about 4 years ago, you were kind of just starting your Rise of the Rest tour, where you were trying to promote the tech sort of investments in Middle America, right. outside of Silicon Valley. How is that going? How is your message evolved?
Great. So far we've done 8 tours, visited 43 cities, and last week we did our 8th tour. We were in Orlando, Tampa, St. Pete, Space Coast, and Miami and Florida, and then San Juan in Puerto Rico. What we're seeing in all these different cities are great entrepreneurs building great companies. But the dynamics we talked about a few years ago are still the case. Last year, 75% of venture capital went to just 3 states. California, New York, and Massachusetts, 75%. So the other 47 states get 25%. Florida, 3rd largest state, 1.3% last year of venture capital. Ohio, Michigan, Virginia, less than 1%. California alone, more than 50%. So it is harder for the entrepreneurs in these places to start and scale companies. That's beginning to change. People are beginning to talk about it. Even 60 Minutes covered the Rise of the Rest a couple months ago, shine a spotlight on some of these entrepreneurs. And I think over time, as you see more exits, last week the founder of Chewy, which was acquired for $3 billion outside of Miami, joined us. One of the senior executives at Magic Leap, that's raised $2 billion. Chewy now has 10,000 employees outside of Miami. Magic Leap has 1,700 employees. And most people would assume a company like that's raised so much money from Google and Alibaba would be in Silicon Valley. It's in Plantation, Florida. And so the stories are beginning to get told, the hits are beginning to emerge, the exits and the IPOs from these places are beginning to pick up. And I think over the next 10 years, people will be surprised how many of the unicorn companies, the breakout successes, are not just in the usual places like Silicon Valley, but spread all over the country.
What areas within tech excite you the most right now? Is it AI, privacy?
I like the technologies are super interesting, and those are among them. But the part that's most exciting is what I've called the third wave of the internet, which is the first wave is getting everybody online. The second wave has been apps, software on top of the internet. The third wave is smart cities and healthcare and food and agriculture systems. But it's going to require a different mindset. I think partnerships are going to be more important. Policy, understanding regulations are going to become more important. Those are these third wave companies are what particularly excite me, particularly if they're in these Rise of the Rest cities. The combination of third wave and Rise of the Rest is really galvanizes my attention.
All right, guys, so of course we have the Uber IPO that we're waiting for. Reports are saying that could be a $90 billion valuation right out of the gate. Now, Steve Case went on to say that when he took AOL public back in 1992, it was worth, get this, $70 million on its first trading day. So Steve Case is marveling, like the rest of us, about the sky-high valuations of a lot of these big unicorn companies. I mean, 30 years ago, 25 years ago, you just didn't see valuations like we're seeing today.